Hey guys, that sounded very cutesy. I'm sorry. Yeah, this is my voice. Welcome to the first ever voiceover and vlog video I'm doing for this channel. This isn't the first one I made. I actually finished the last one Friday. Sorry, I worked yesterday. Anyways, we'll start here. I guess we'll start here. We have to start here. You have to start somewhere. Sorry if I ramble sometimes. I do that a lot. Sorry. Anyways, I guess we'll start. So this journey took place from start of June to early July. And we live in Upper Australia, so we flew down to where my parents were born and where I was born, but we don't live there anymore, except I will be moving down there for uni next year because I'm studying film, which I'm very excited for. I might make videos about that in the future. Who knows? Because you have to do... That was probably my neck cracking. Sorry, it was just really bugging me. Anyways, so I guess we'll start. So Melbourne is one of the main cities of Australia. I'm giving you a little geography lesson, even though I freaking suck at geography. I once thought that LA was a continent. That sounds really stupid. I don't think that anymore. I was 12 years old when I thought that, guys. Calm down. But it's not. I know it's not a continent. I know Asia and Africa and Europe are continents. Not LA. Anyways, so Melbourne is one of the biggest cities in Australia. I'd say Sydney probably is the biggest. I've never been to Perth or Adelaide. I live in Australia and I haven't been to a lot of places in Australia. I really do want to go to a few places. I want to go to Uluru. I really badly want to go to Uluru. Anyways, yeah, the main cities in Australia are Perth, Adelaide, Cairns, Brisbane, Melbourne, Sydney, and Canberra. And I live right above Brisbane, if you've ever heard of it. I don't know. If you're Australian, you would have. If you're not, you probably won't. Because I know I have American friends and European friends, and because my dad went traveling a lot when he was younger and made a whole bunch of friends overseas, because my dad's just a really friendly guy, so we're friends with them and they've got kids and I'm friends with their kids, so, and they don't know about the places we live. They're like, wait, you live there? What's that? I've never heard of it. It's yes, we do live there. Anyways, so yeah, Melbourne is where I was born and it's where my parents are from. And it's a pretty small, Brisbane's a pretty small city, but Melbourne's also pretty small, I would say. It's pretty big, pretty small. I don't know what I'm trying to say right now. It's complicated. Anyways, the capital of Australia is Canberra, because apparently there was this big fight between Melbourne and Sydney deciding, oh my god, who's going to be the capital of Australia? They're like, oh, Sydney was like, it should be us, and Melbourne was like, no, it should be us. But then they were like, we'll choose Canberra in between you two. But Canberra, the only interesting thing about Canberra is that the Parliament House is there. That's literally the only thing. No offense to people that live in Canberra. I've never been, but anyways. Sorry. We flew down to Melbourne because all of my family live down there besides my parents and my sister. So my aunties and uncles, I would say my grandparents, but I only have one living grandma left. So, yeah, aunties, uncles, cousins, and family friends all live down there. So, yeah. So we checked out. We spent a few days down there before leaving, spending some time with our family, and it was very nice. So then we got up the 10th, I think we left the 10th of June to go to the airport, Melbourne airport, and fly to Turkey, because Turkey was our first destination. As you can tell by the title of this video, will be something about Istanbul, going to Istanbul, something that I'll come out with later. Oh well. Anyways, yes, but because I live in Australia is so far from everything. Like, I'm not kidding, it takes forever to get anywhere from Australia. So we had to do a stopover in Shanghai. So we were flying from Melbourne to Shanghai, which was a long flight. And I hate flying, guys. Like, I absolutely despise flying. Anyways, so we get to the airport, we saw it through, and then our flight was about like 11 a.m. We get on the flight, and the flight's 9 hours. 9 hours to Shanghai airport. And yeah, it was a pretty unbearable flight. We had pretty good seats though, because we were at the back of one section and I'm always in the middle though, because I'm the youngest child, so I always also have to make sacrifices for everyone else. I'm just saying. Sorry. Anyways, yeah, so flight was 9 hours. I watched Trolls Band Together, which is like one of the reasons why I got back into like an NSYNC phase, by the way, if you guys were wondering why I randomly had NSYNC in my videos. Because I watched Trolls 3 and I thought it was a pretty decent movie, especially compared to the last two ones, and like I really enjoyed the boy band thing about it. And then, you know, I got really interested in NSYNC because I remember listening to them when I was younger, and I used to adore the song Bye Bye Bye. And yeah, so I used to listen to that song religiously when I was like 12, but then like, you know, a few years later I was like, wait, Justin Timberlake was in NSYNC? Because I didn't know that until a few years later. So, you know, and then, you know, I watched the movie, and yeah, then I was like, I want to know more about NSYNC. So I learned about the other boys, you know, like JC, Lance, and Joey and Chris and that. And, you know, I'm not a big fan of Justin because he seems a bit like a uptight misogynist, but, you know, oh well. I like his relationship with JC though. They have a cute relationship. Anyways, that's besides the point. That's not what we're talking about here. So yeah, so I watched that movie again because I also like really liked the fake boy band songs in that movie. I just thought the songs were really good in that movie as well. If you guys couldn't tell from that video I made about vocal moments, I talk about a lot because, you know, like I always like love specific points and stuff. But anyways, God, I'm such a rambler. I'm sorry. I yap so much. Anyways, so yeah, we land in Shanghai, and so we landed in Shanghai, and it was a pretty long flight, and we get there about 10, 11 at night, and we were, what's the word? Interconnecting flights, whatever. We had to catch another flight to Istanbul, which was our first destination, and which is the capital of Turkey. So we get to the airport and in Shanghai, and there's like, it's huge, like it's a huge area, but like there's nothing there and everything's shut. So we're like freaking starving because we're not going to eat the shitty airplane food. And yeah. Yeah, and there was no freaking internet, so we couldn't download anything, which was really annoying because then we were getting on a 12-hour flight from Shanghai to Istanbul. And I found a Dairy Queen. And by the way, I don't think there's any Dairy Queens in Australia because I've never seen one. So I was like, ooh, I want to try it out. So we tried it out, and I don't know what they're called. Are they called concretes or something? Like the things where you tip the ice cream upside down and it like doesn't come out. Anyways, this is the part where you see my face for the first time. And it's me with the Dairy Queen ice cream. I got like a strawberry volcano or something. It was pretty good. I liked it. Like a strawberry cheesecake volcano, if I remember. Anyways, Yeah, this is what I look like. By the way, I look pretty shitty in this one, like this part, because I just was on a 9-hour flight and I'm wearing like stinky clothes. I'm wearing my like one of my favorite Halloween shirts that my dad bought me from Hawaii. Hawaii? No, America. It's like, a shirt of, Halloween the movie, because I love horror movies, if you guys weren't already aware of that. And yeah, and then I'm just wearing some sweatpants and my hair's up. So yeah, and then yeah, there was like no one in this huge ass airport, as you can see. And then like we couldn't charge anything. Like we couldn't straight up not charge anything. And yeah. Then we got on our next flight. And our next flight, again, as I said, was 12 hours. It was pretty freaking long. And I had nothing to watch. I think I slept at some points during the flight. And I don't like sleeping during flights. So yeah, that was great. So yeah, then we landed in Istanbul, and that airport was much nicer than the Shanghai airport. It was all this very nice stuff and cool like stuff up. We wanted to check it out more, and we were hoping to when we had to fly to our next destination. But we're not there yet, are we? I'm just saying. Anyways, so yeah, we get to Istanbul airport and we try to find a taxi, and it was pretty hard because they have taxis that go to specific districts in the area or something like specific suburbs, which I was like, oh, that's interesting. But you always have like culture shock. But something I think is interesting now that I've thought about culture shock is I now view things in a sense where I'm like, oh, we have a place like that at home. Or like this place reminds me of something at home, Like I remember going to Reno? Is that what it's called? Reno? The little like Vegas knockoff in somewhere near June Lake in America, because I've been to June Lake, and I remember going there, walking around the streets, and I'm just like, holy shit, this reminds me of Melbourne. And I was like 13 then, so it was quite a while ago. And yeah, I was like, this reminds me of Melbourne. So I'm like, these places aren't too different. It's just, there's different cultures there. And I just think that's cool. It kind of gives another reality check that, we're all in the same earth. We're all in the same place. Like, come on. But then again, you go to these places and there's a lot of, like, even the environments can be so different and so much cooler, And I just think that's cool. Anyways, don't mind me rambling. I'm a rambler. Anyways, yeah, so we get a taxi from the airport to our hotel, and it was quite far, the airport. It was like a 30-minute drive from the airport to the city, and it was pretty, like, rural, I would say. The areas around the airport were pretty rural. And then you get up to the city and, like, every 5 seconds you see a mosque, and I thought that was really freaking cool. I just thought that was really, really cool. And yeah, and then you notice I noticed that the city was like really hilly, like there was hills everywhere and houses on these hills just like everywhere, and these houses were like, I would say they were very French inspired because they looked that way. And yeah, that was really cool. So we got into our hotel because we stayed at Galata, which is like this, and it's known for this famous tower there, Galata Tower. Yeah, and we stayed at this hotel. And we get in and we went for like a lunch breakfast thingy because we were hungry, but then, it was hot as Hades. And we went back to the hotel room. My parents went back out, but then I fell asleep at like 4 p.m. because I was hella tired and it was 10 p.m. at home. So, yeah, that's technically the end of our arrival in Turkey. So I guess we'll go to day 1 of Istanbul. So we get up the next morning, we had a little breakfast in our buffet, and we walked back up to Galata Tower. So you go up all these like hills in these alleyways, and we walked past this really cute like cafe on these rainbow stairs, and there was cats everywhere. And yeah, and then you go up more of these alleys ways with all these cute little antique shops and cafes and restaurants, and then you come up into this big square, and that's where the Gladder Tower is. And yeah, the Gladder Tower was freaking beautiful, and there's all these restaurants around it, and there's all these vendors selling corn and like roasted chestnuts and stuff like that. It was pretty freaking cool. I just have to say that. Yeah, and then this square is specifically known for like cafes that do like the famous San Sebastian cheesecake with like chocolate over it, which we didn't get to try until the next day, but we tried it at a different place. Anyways, yeah. So then we kept walking through more of the alleyways, and I saw a Palestinian flag. I saw a bunch of Palestinian flags around the city, which was absolutely amazing to see. Free Palestine, guys, by the way. It was, yeah, and it was great to see just that. Yeah, and there was like all this art on this wall, like on these walls, and like these really pretty like antique shops, as I said before. And further down where we were staying, it was like every store on the strip was just an electrical store. It was very interesting to see. Yeah, and we walked past this cafe that had these like little kittens and these cats that I think actually like belonged to the owners. And then we found this like famous antique boutique stripping. What? No. Antique. No. I'm mumbling up my words now. Boutique shopping strip. There we go. Boutique shopping strip. Which was, yeah, it was very nice. There was some very nice stores, and like there were a lot of like candy, like restaurants and candy places, and you know, they had flags everywhere, and all of the architecture was like really pretty, like old stone and like sculpted. And yeah, and then there were all these candy stores that did like fresh baklava and Turkish delight, and you know, like Turkish delight in Turkey, come on. Like that's pretty cool. So we walked pretty far down that strip, until we got to, oh yeah, and this strip had like a little tram that goes through the street, which is pretty cool. I just gotta say, I thought it was pretty cool. So yeah, and we went further up until we found like this mosque, and this mosque was like pretty cool. And near this mosque was a train station. So we went down into the train station, and we caught a train to the other side of the river. So I went over to the other side of the river to check out the Blue Mosque and the Hagia Sophia. But on the way, we walked through Golhani Park, which is like this famous park, with all these like beautiful flowers and stuff like that I thought would be cool to check out. I just like thought it'd be really cool to check this place out, guys. So I was like, oh, why don't I do that? So we walked through there, and then like, you know, we walked past the Basilica cistern, which I really wanted to check out, but we didn't get a chance because the line was like so big. So we skipped that one. And yeah, and then we made it to like the big park where both the Hagia Sophia and the Blue Mosque like parallel each other, and they were both just so incredibly beautiful. Like you just look at them and they're just like, it's so amazing to just think that people made this stuff. Like it's insane. And we went inside, I think, a smaller version of one of the mosques, like a tomb in that, which was really cool to see. Like the ceiling was just filled with like mosaic tiles. It was really, really freaking pretty. And then we went and we got some lunch. We had a gosling, which was really nice. And I had a Sprite because I freaking love Sprite. And we had some dips and, what are they called? Dolmades? Some dolmades. Then we went to the Grand Bazaar, which was like this big shopping spice market. And it was, like I would say, it was pretty big. It was really big and kind of like a maze. Kind of reminded me of IKEA in a way because it was like a maze. Yeah, and so we walked through there, and it was like, it kind of was just like the same thing over and over again in the store. Like, not in the store, well, in the market. Like, it was the same shops over and over again. So once we finished in there, we got back on a train and headed back to the hotel room. And I was too tired to go out anymore, so I stayed in the room and went to bed. So that's the end of day 1, guys. Give it a round of applause. I'm joking. I'm insane sometimes. I'm sorry. So yeah, then day 2, we got up. We decided we wanted to go have breakfast down in the alleyways near the Bosphorus, which is like the famous river that runs through Istanbul, and so of like the Mediterranean Sea. What is the Mediterranean? Anyways, and these alleyways were just like really, really freaking cute and had all these cute little like cafes, and of course there were cats everywhere. I'm not joking. Cats everywhere. And so yeah, and in Istanbul it's known for, and like Turkey is known for like them hanging up umbrellas everywhere up in the like streets, which was so cool. It was really cool to see. So we saw some of that here. So that was really nice. And yeah, I saw these cute little cats, these kittens sitting in a pot. It was so cute, and it was so sweet. And then we sat down for breakfast, and I had a chocolate San Sebastian cheesecake, which was pretty good, and my mum had an omelette she liked, and then we actually walked out onto the Bosphorus, which was really cool to see, and then we walked across the bridge, and you go under and then up, and under these bridges there's like restaurant after restaurant after restaurant. It was really actually pretty cool, and the restaurants actually looked pretty cool, and I wish we got to check them out, but we didn't, because we didn't stay that long in Istanbul, only like 2-3 days. Actually, I think it was only 2 full days. Yeah. Anyways, so we walked to the other side of the city, and yeah, there was this pretty cool boat that we saw, and we walked past the marina, and then we got on a train and headed up to Balat, which is like this famous little suburb in the city that people say there's really good cafes and stuff there. So yeah, we walked up to Balat, and as I said, the city is pretty hilly, so you're like going up all these stairs and all these hills, and yeah, it's another place with like these really cute alleyways, and and there's all these mini mosques, because there's freaking mosques everywhere, and it's wonderful to see that. I think it's wonderful that there's all these beautifully architectural like buildings everywhere in the city. So yeah, we walked through Balat, and that was really nice, and Balat is known for these famous rainbow stairs, so we walked up those, and these rainbow stairs were like filled with like people getting photos and like influencers, because that's what happens. It was summertime when we went, but it wasn't as busy as we thought it was going to be. I would say it gets more busy towards the middle. Like, it's summertime up in Northern Hemisphere, winter down here where I live in Australia. And yeah, so we walked up these stairs, and you could actually, when you go up Balat, you get a pretty great view of like the river and the city and that. And yeah, we saw more cats, which was nice. Cats everywhere. And yeah, and then we saw these beautiful, like, colourful buildings, which kind of reminded me of Spain, not gonna lie, because I've been there, and it was really, really pretty, like, all these beautiful buildings and that. And it was interesting seeing, like, the way these people lived. Like, we saw some people, like, bringing washing down on a rope, like, and that, and it was really cool, like, really interesting. And yeah, so we walked through that, and then we ended up back down towards the bottom of Balat to go get some food, and I got some necklaces at this cute little antique shop and a postcard, because everywhere we went I got a postcard and a magnet for my grandmother, and there was this cute little cat just splayed out on a display in this lady's gift shop, and he kissed my camera, which is so cute. He was so cute. And yeah, and then we sat down again, and we had some more gosloms, which was really nice. Because gosloms are pretty freaking good. But yeah, I was waiting to have a kebab, and I was so desperately waiting to have a souvlaki from Greece again. Like, oh my god, I love souvlakis. Anyways, yeah. And then, after that, we walked past all these like pretty cool, more cool gift shops. And then we got on the train again, walked back under the bridge. And then me and my mother stopped at this like fancy cocktail place. We got a San Sebastian cheesecake with like, I think it was like grapefruit sauce, which was pretty nice. And then we got some cocktails. So here's me having the cocktail. And then we went out for dinner along the shopping strip I just told you about that we checked out on day one. And here's me having a frozen daiquiri, and then here's me drinking my frozen daiquiri while singing How to Save a Life by The Fray, which is my favorite song, by the way. It just started playing in the restaurant. It's my favorite song besides Teen Idol by Marina and the Diamonds and Teenage Dirtbag by Wheatus. Anyways, yeah, and then I had a good old Sprite because I get easily drunk, so I was like, I want a Sprite now. So yeah, and then they gave us these Turkish teas that they do, and they gave it to us for free because the waiter was like a pretty cool guy. He was like really nice. And yeah, the Turkish teas were really nice. And I'm probably like rambling and talking really fast now, I'm sorry. Yeah, and then we headed back to our hotel, but we stopped into one of those like baklava Turkish delight stores and got some Turkish delight, and this Turkish delight was freaking delicious. I'm not kidding. Like, it's Turkish delight from Turkey. Like they say, the best place you can get food is from where it originates. So yeah. So yeah, and then we headed back to the hotel, and that's the end of day 2, which was our final full day in Istanbul. And like my overall thoughts on Istanbul, it was a pretty great place. It was, I thought it was very interesting the way it was designed, and like, all the different buildings and different types of like forms of architecture, because you had like these pretty like cobblestone boutique places, and then like the nice like French old medieval types of like tall thin houses, which was really interesting to see. Like, I just thought it was really cool, honestly. And all the colors that you would see in the city were nice. And then on top of that, the mosques were everywhere, and the food was really nice. And there were a lot of lovely people around. It just, it was a really, really nice area. I just have to say that. I don't think it was my favorite, but, I really enjoyed it. It would have been nicer to stay a bit longer, but we didn't get to. Oh, well. Then we were off to our next destination. So we get up in the morning and we get in the taxi to go to the airport. And once we arrive at the airport and head into check-in, my mum realizes she left the passports at the hotel in the safe, and we can't go anywhere without our passports. So my parents tried calling the hotel, but like they couldn't get to them, so my dad had to hop in a taxi. And as I said, it's like 30 minutes from the airport to the city. So he gets there, and we're like desperately waiting, hoping that they won't close check-in, and we'll be able to check in and then get on our flight and check our bags and go through customs and shit. So yeah, and then my dad ended up getting there at 10 and our flight left at 11, or like he got there at like 10:30 or something. And yeah, he managed to get our passports. And yeah, well, then we had to like run through the airport. And we really badly wanted to check out the airport mall, but we didn't get a chance. But it was pretty nice from what we saw. Like, it was pretty cool. And yeah, except like all the toilets were like toilets in the floor. Like, you walk into the toilet and it's literally just a hole in the floor. Like, no thanks, I'm not doing that. Sorry, I speak like I have like a lot of privilege compared to these countries, so I will admit that, and I do feel very bad for these people, and sometimes you do have to be put in these circumstances. Sorry about that. Yeah, and then I saw this lady with a cat in her bag, which we're like, we want that, we want to bring our cats everywhere with us, and then we got on a flight to our next destination, and yeah, it was a pretty short flight. They said it was going to be an hour and 45 minutes, but I swear it was only 30 minutes. So, anyways, I guess I'll see you guys in the next vlog, which will be vlog part 1, because it's still a part of Turkey. I was going to put all 3 destinations we visited in Turkey in one video, but this one ended up being 40 minutes, and I was like, I don't want this video to be any longer than, you know, an hour or so. So I decided to separate the places, and it'll be the same for Greece, except for Hungary, because we only visited Budapest and Hungary, so that one will just be standalone as well, just itself, and that will be vlog part 3, because it's the 3rd country we visited, and Greece will be vlog part 2, because it was the 2nd country. But then you'll have the volumes, so volume 1 of vlog part 1 will be Istanbul, and then volume 2 will be the next place, and volume 3 the 3rd place, and then same with the Greek vlog. Anyways, thank you guys for listening, and yeah, this was technically a face reveal and a voice reveal. There'll be more in the next videos, and I hope you guys enjoyed. I might do more stuff like this in the future, but there definitely will be more compilations coming out soon. Love you guys, and ciao. And I say ciao because my godfather is Italian, and he says that to me sometimes, so it was like ciao, ciao bella. Or, what's the one for the guys? Because ciao bella's for females. Except, it doesn't matter. Anyways, love you guys. Bye.